Hey man, it is the Ace Micheals show, and I'm Ace Micheals, your host for The Affair. Happy to be with you today and every day. Listen, man, today we have a special guest on the show, but before I get to that, I want to tell you, if you want to be on the show, all you have to do is call us. You can call 702-540-3498. Again, it's 702-540-3498. That will get you on the show. Or you can email, if you want to email, beyondthebuzz@yahoo.com. That will give you the opportunity to voice your opinion, speak your mind, your suggestions, convictions, beliefs, ideas, dreams, aspirations, inspirations, all that. You can do it right here on the show. Today, my guest is Gabrielle Burton. Gabrielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. Now, I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to just go straight into it with no small talk, because you've got a big long title after your name.
Oh.
So that's, I mean, anytime I see somebody who's like, you know, da 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 da, then I want to know exactly what is da 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 da. So right.
I am a licensed marriage and family therapist intern.
Wow. So you're a licensed marriage and family therapist intern.
Yes.
So you're dealing with a lot of people who are divorcing or coming from maybe abused relationships, domestic violence issues.
Yep.
Right?
I deal with a variety of issues. So I see couples, families, and also individuals as well. Anywhere from dealing with anxiety, depression, grief, loss, premarital counseling, divorce counseling, even people that are maybe trying to figure out how to co-parent. So it's just a variety of issues that people might be dealing with, and they come to a therapist to kind of help them sort it out and just hopefully open up lines of communication.
Now, when I know that you do something like that, my first thought is you clearly don't have a relationship going on your own. Like, because after work, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you work at McDonald's, dog, you don't want to see 2 beef patties ever in life. You like, dog, if I see another special sauce, I'm out of here. So you probably kind of keep it single, right?
Well, I mean, one day I would love to get married, but currently I am single.
Because it's hard, right? Because you're seeing a lot of dysfunctional stuff.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I kind of just chalk it up to I haven't really met the right person, but I definitely think that being a therapist, I'm a lot more cautious as to the relationships I do engage in, just because I'm able to detect like dysfunction like that.
Red flag, red flag.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, wait, what's that?
Full of red flags.
Pretty much. Like someone, if they don't know why they were recently divorced, it's like, you don't know why you were divorced and you're trying to date me. That concerns me. Like, if you don't know what your part in it was, then I don't know, and I don't want to find out. So
now, I got a thing, that's interesting you said. I got a thing that bothers me, okay? And I wanted to talk to a therapist about this. So luckily for me, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to finally get to talk to one.
Sure.
So
I'll send you an invoice afterwards.
People who get married.
Okay.
This is my thing. Okay, you get married one time. Sure. Didn't work out.
Okay.
You get married again. Sure. Something happened. Lightning struck that one. Okay. You get married a third time. What I don't understand is these people that are on their 4th and 5th and even 6th marriages. What's up with that, Doc?
Well, I think everybody has their own, everybody's reasonings can be different. But it could be one of many things. It could be a love addiction, where they're just addicted.
They got an addiction to love?
It could be that.
Oh, of course they do.
I'm not saying everybody.
Right.
I'm not saying everybody, but it could be that they really love like the feelings that they get in the beginning of the relationship, and they love like this cycle of like a love addiction. But a lot of times it's kind of like the idea of insanity, where you do the same thing and expect a different result. They are thinking that, okay, well, I wasn't the problem, so I'm going to go into this next relationship and this is going to fix it. There is something where it's called your belief system does not actually line up to your life condition. I would love to write it out for you because it's actually like a formula. But a lot of times people, like, so let's say your belief system says life should be easy, marriage should be great, and like my spouse should make me happy. And then your life condition is my spouse isn't making me happy, marriage isn't easy, and like this is not fun for me. So what they do is they actually change their life condition. They go and they get a new partner. Because my belief system is that marriage should be easy and that my partner should make me happy, right? So they change their life condition and they go find another partner. And then, but their belief system is still the same. And so then this person is not fitting their belief system, so they find another partner. The problem is they have not changed their belief system. Their belief system is messed up. So does that make any sense?
It made complete sense to me.
So a lot of times that's what therapy can help you do, is it can help you find out what are those dysfunctional patterns that people are repeatedly doing, and how can we break those cycles so that you can create a new healthy cycle.
Now, what about this? I'm just going to throw a bunch at you because these are ones that are on my mind. I don't have a bunch of them on my mind, but there are some that are really hard for me to figure out. Okay. So for example, here's two. I'm just going to do two more.
Okay.
Can I do two more and then we're done with
Sure,
it?
yeah.
Okay, so here's the other one. The other one I don't understand is the person, male or female, who's in love and probably married to the person who's serving a life sentence in prison. How in the world can that be fulfilling?
So that one is different because everybody has a different story. So I would need to know, like, well, what is it that person is fulfilling for you? What was your relationship like before they went to jail? That kind of thing. So I honestly can't even give you an idea as to why that would be, because everybody would have a different reason for what that is.
But to be with a person you can't even be with, like I mean, how would you ever? You can't even touch that person. You can't hold their hand. Right? And that's crucial for a relationship. You gotta be able to touch sometimes,
for some
right?
people, and then for some people it might just be that I have that moral support. I have someone that's thinking about me that I can write a letter to. Maybe the distance is nice so that I don't have to be. So, I can't really give you an exact answer as to why. Yeah, but everybody has a different expectation of what a relationship should look like.
That is true. Okay, and that takes me right to my third one that really boggled my mind. Since I moved to Las Vegas, this one became more prevalent than any place else I'd ever been. It is the individual who does not engage in adult-related work, be it porn or escorting or whatever, but is happily involved with the person who is extremely involved in porn, escorting, or whatever. So they're married or they're in this long-term relationship where one of them is completely, what's the medical term for it? Buck wild. And the other one is like this pillar of salt that's like, oh, when you get done with the football team, then I'll pick you up at 7.
Right.
What's up with that?
So again, like, all couples have different expectations of what works in a relationship, and I'm not one to judge. I mean, I know, and I know like what I would like or not like in a relationship, but like for some people, like that works for them. Right. It keeps things interesting. It could be like at least my spouse is wanted and desired, but they come home to me at night. I mean, it could be something like that. Actually, when I was in grad school, we had to take different topics that were like hot topics, and we had to study them, and then we would put there'd be 2 different teams where we would have to debate for or against the specific topic. So we actually looked at swinging, for instance.
Sure.
And so like half of us would be for swinging and half of us would be against swinging, and we had to find research that supported why people would choose one way or the other. And so it was interesting because whatever side you stand on, they would be bringing research that would kind of support both sides. And there's actually couples that like swinging enhances their relationship, and I mean, from some research that was shown. So it kind of helped me as a therapist kind of say, okay, let me go in with an open mind and really just try to understand like what are the strengths of the couple's relationship. It just kind of depends on what the couple really wants in their relationship.
As I've gotten older, and contrary to popular belief, I am getting older. I think I can understand a little bit more about, like, for example, swinging. Like, We've been getting our freak on for 6-7 years now. I'm tired of getting my freak on with you. It's not even really a freak anymore. It's getting kind of normal. So why don't you go on Tuesdays and go get your freak on, and I'm going to watch Game of Thrones, and when you come back, everybody's happy. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I want to, before we run out of time, I want to go to another thing that you do. It's a completely separate thing now.
Yes.
Okay, so now you organize events for your therapy, which, by the way, I noticed you never said anything about mentally ill people in any of these scenarios. So is it that you don't believe that this individual that's doing this stuff, mental illness has nothing to do, that's a separate thing, right?
Well, so each person is different. So it could be that, that mental illness could be playing a factor into some of these behaviors. But I wouldn't necessarily say that every person that is engaging that lifestyle has a mental illness.
I like that, like mental illness playing a factor. That's how I'm going to get out of the next ticket I get. I'm really sorry. Listen, man, mental illness is playing a factor right here.
Right?
Dog. I don't know what to tell you. I'm mentally ill for this particular moment. What? Mental illness is playing a factor. Congratulations. Every probably 4 weeks, maybe once a month-ish, somebody will come on the show that will say what I call should be the t-shirt slogan.
Okay.
That right there, mental illness is playing a factor. I love it. I love it. Like, mental illness is this little red devil over here on your shoulder, and then you got this other green devil on your shoulder, and the mental illness is like, no.
Yeah. I mean, like, as a therapist, we actually see things, like, systemically, so I don't necessarily just look at only mental illness. Like, let's say I have a client that comes into my office, and they're like, depression, oh, that's the issue, and it's just depression. Well, I will look at, okay, so we say it's depression, but how does depression play into your family? How does it play into society? How does it play into your socioeconomic status? And, there's a lot of different factors that are actually contributing to why a person is the way they are. A lot of times people think it's just one issue, but it's not. There's so many other factors that play into it. So that's why I say mental illness can be one of the factors that could be having someone act out in a certain way, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. There could be that people choose to,
I'm surprised I'm even intelligent enough to keep up with what you're saying, Gabrielle. That's the main thing that's freaking me out is I'm like, every word she's saying, I kind of get it. Wow, check me out.
Awesome.
So you put this event together. You put this camp together for these kids. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the camp was called Illuminate, a performing arts camp.
Nice.
And I had it was June 19th to the 23rd. And so I was kind of telling you earlier, but it was just an idea that I had. It was the summertime. And I was like, okay, like I need to figure out something to do. I love working with kids and I love the performing arts. So I'm trying to figure out a way to marry my two passions of therapy and the performing arts. And so I just had this idea.
Right.
Seriously.
Because they so go together.
They do. I mean, the performing arts are very therapeutic. And I'll tell you, a lot of my clients, I would say I specialize in like teens and young adults. And I use like the creative arts and the performing arts as a way of helping them.
Nice.
To their healing. So I've had clients where I'm like, hey, just like write a script and we'll perform it, or like write your story, or write a song about this, or paint or journal. And it's amazing because a lot of times creatives, because they feel so deeply, they struggle a lot with like anxiety and depression. And so they need to find an outlet. And so that's where I come in, because I'm like, I get it. I'm a creative and I love therapy, so let's do this. Right. So Illuminate was just an idea that I had, and I pitched it to, it's Lake Mead Christian Academy. They're an amazing school. They do K through 12th grade, private school. And so I told them, I was like, hey, I have this idea. I really want to do this performing arts camp for middle and high school kids. And the whole point of it was to teach kids that while they are creative and they have creative gifts, that their gifts are meant to illuminate the world. And so we are supposed to use our creative gifts to either raise an awareness of an issue or to create solutions to problems around us. And so that's what the premise of the camp was. And so I told them, about my idea, and they're like, that's awesome. What's your budget? And I was like, I don't have any money. Like $0. I have nothing. But it's this idea that I have.
Idea.
Yeah. I was like, I really want to, And they're just like, all right, we've never done anything to this capacity before, but we're going to let you go with it. And I was like, okay, cool. So I go through and I start like designing the logo, and I order t-shirts and all this kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there, and at first I had like 4 kids sign up, and I was just like, oh Lord, like I really need more people to come in. Plus I had people like staff that I already handpicked and said, you're going to teach photography, you're going to teach videography, you're going to teach dance and theater. So I already had people lined up, and I told them I was going to pay them a certain rate, a certain stipend, but I didn't have the money. And so I just kind of had to walk by faith, to be completely honest. And so as like the weeks kept going on, I went from like 4 to like 10, and 10 to like 20, and 20 to like 25, and then at the end I ended up having 32 kids signed up.
Oh wow.
And it was just amazing. And I had the parents, they were just like, this was done so well, and they were like, I can't believe this was your first camp. And I couldn't believe it either. Like I couldn't believe how easy everything came to me. Every day after the camp, I would send the parents a letter of, today our topic was on character, and we talked about how it's important to have great character, even though you're talented, that your character needs to be, refined and tuned, and that's going to help you in any area of life, whether it's in the performing arts or any job. And then we talked about influence and leadership. And we also talked about the transcendentals, which means that your art should always point to what is good, what is beautiful, and what is true. A lot of times in our culture, we love art because it points to something that's beautiful, but it may not be pointing to what is good or true. So when we're looking at something that's beautiful, it actually becomes an idol, but it's not pointing to anything that's good or true. So it's really like teaching the kids about having a Christian worldview, because whatever is in our heart, that's what's actually going to come out through our art. Anytime we're consuming art, we are experiencing the artist worldview. So I was really trying to challenge the kids to go through and just check well, what is it that you believe and what's your worldview, to make sure that before you present something to people, to make sure that your heart is right.
Now, does that go to say that a filmmaker like Quentin Tarantino that makes a lot of violent films is not creating true art, in your opinion? And that, clearly some people think what he does is beautiful, although it may not be the other two things. Yeah.
So honestly, for what I was sharing with them, it was more like a Christian worldview. So very much Christian worldview.
These kids are like 9, so we're not talking about that deep.
What we did though, we would actually take lyrics from artists, certain singers, and then we would dissect the lyrics, and we would just be like, okay, so he's talking about bees and hoes, and he's talking about if I can't have you, I'll get another one. Is that true? Is that good? Is that beautiful? And kind of just being mindful of the art that we're consuming, because
that's good that you did that,
because it's if you're listening to these things and you're kind of going along with these ideals, it's really, is that what you want to
do you think that, you personally, do you think that the more we listen to misogynistic lyrics that we will start thinking that way?
I think so. I definitely think you become desensitized to it. The more you see violence, the more you see
I think we actually will start doing it. I think the more you hear that saying money comes before everything, then you start thinking, money does come before everything, even if I don't have any. Well, that's what I need to do to go get some. I need to do something drastic to go get some, because money comes before everything. If you hear it enough, I do think you will. So that's interesting. So are you going to keep the camp going every summer?
I definitely want to.
Can I go? I will go.
Sure. I would love to keep doing it again. And I was asked by another school to put it on again too. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
A lot of fun.
And then in addition to running a camp like a boss, as if that wasn't enough, you are author of a new book, and the book is called, let me make sure I got it right. Is it called Ultimate Guide to Being a Gold Digger?
Oh, the Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Gold Digger.
Yeah, not just being one. Because after you be one, that's the sequel book. This is how you get to be a gold digger.
Exactly.
Okay, so the book is called The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Gold Digger. How does one become a gold digger? Tell me a little bit about this book.
Okay, so I know it sounds like most of the time when people hear the word gold digger,
it sounds salacious.
It does. It does. And you know what? I did that on purpose.
Apparently
we live in Las Vegas. Come on, people are obsessed with wealth and with fame and all that kind of stuff. But truly, the book talks about how I actually call myself a gold digger as a therapist, because I believe everyone has wealth and value and talents and abilities within them. And so I want to be able to be the one to bring out the things that are going to enhance the value of their relationships and themselves.
Okay.
So the book talks about how we have to be willing to dig out the gold and the value within ourselves that'll ultimately enhance our lives and our relationships. And so...
True.
Yeah.
I say true. I'm with that. Please.
Yeah.
Please do continue. Very good.
Thank you. So kind of just like the start of how the book, where it starts out, is it talks about how in 1849 there was the gold rush. And people came from all over the world looking for this gold. And it was the first time that it actually created a multi-ethnic, multicultural, and multi-religious society. And gold represented hope. It represented like a new beginning and opportunity. And so people were excited. A lot of men actually left their wives at home because they were like, babe, you stay here with the kids, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get my money, and I'm gonna make a living, and then and I'm gonna come back and we're gonna live large, and you're not gonna have I'm not gonna have to work every day. So that's what these people were sold on. So they jumped on ships and they sailed across the river to come to what we now know as San Francisco. Right. But they went and they were looking for this gold. They were looking for gold, and it was called the Sierra Nevada River. And so what men would have to do was they would put their hands in this river, and when you look down in the river, it was just like black dirt. So you would pick up a handful of black dirt and you'd throw it in a pan, and you would sift through the pan, and I mean, again, you pretty much had to believe that there was gold to be found. That's the whole thing. You had to pretty much believe that there was gold. So they would shake through it and they would pan through it, and all of the black dirt would go back into the water, but the gold would actually sink to the bottom of the pan.
Sure.
And so that's the idea of gold digging.
The panhandlers.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yes. And so pretty much gold digging means that you have to be willing to take a risk, and you have to really believe that there's something to be found. Now, during the gold rush, not everybody struck it rich. There was actually a lot of violence and a lot of tension because of intolerance and greed and all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of wars and famine a lot of wars and things like that during that time. However, there was a man by the name of James Allen, and he is what I actually would say that he's a gold digger. So what he did was he had no desire to go out there and dig for gold. Truly, he was like, that is not for me. So what he decided to do was he actually opened up a general store right in front of the Sierra Nevada River, and he did what was called Mind the Miners. He opened up a general store, and he provided them with the tools that they needed to be successful to look for the gold. He ended up striking it rich because he made hundreds of $1,000s a day, just giving them what they needed. Now, the reason why I call him a gold digger is because he looked within himself. He saw the gifts, the talents, the abilities that he had, and then he saw a need and he fulfilled it.
Right.
The same thing was true with women. During that time, there was 90% men and 10% women. And so at the time, this was when women, this was the first time where women were actually able to be paid for their domestic skills and things like that. Men were willing to pay so much money for a home cooked meal or for their laundry to be cleaned and all that kind of stuff. So these women opened up bed and breakfasts, inns, and laundromats. And so they were also gold diggers because they looked within themselves. They saw the talents, the gifts, the abilities they had, and they saw a need and they fulfilled it. So that's the whole point of the book. Becoming a gold digger is not really going out and looking for the wealth out here, but looking for the wealth within yourself. Nice. And how can you build your life that way?
Me likey. Wow. But my brain is, when you get scrambled eggs, that's kind of where my head's at right now. Gabrielle, if people want to contact you, they want to get the book or they want to get some therapy with you, they want to be in touch, how do they reach you on the www?
On the World Wide Web.
Yes.
Well, so the book is not out just yet. It still needs to be edited, so all of that content is still being worked out. And I see clients at the Lake Mead Wellness Center, that's in Henderson, Nevada. And then you can also find me on Facebook, Gabrielle Burton Therapy, and go ahead and like my page, and yeah.
And that is
That
what's
was
up.
it,
Hey
yeah.
man, some good thoughts today. I like it very much. Hey, check out Gabrielle's page and support what she's doing. I always say if you find somebody that's doing something that's good and positive, it's a no-brainer. You need to be supporting that. So make sure you check out what she's doing. And that's the end of the show for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing and liking and making us number one on your social media dial. If you ever want to be on the show, we gave you that information. And you know what I say at the end of every show, and I still mean it. Live the life you love. Love the life you live. Thank you.